Today we're talking all things email marketing for brick and mortar in-person businesses. We're going to talk about what it is, how to collect email addresses, what to send, all the things. So if you have ever wondered anything about email marketing and your brick and mortar or future brick and mortar in-person practice, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of Up in My Business. I am so excited to bring this episode to you about email marketing. I get this question all the time on coaching calls, and most people do not necessarily understand the difference between their EMR, email marketing, Gmail. So we're just going to dive into all of the things today. But before we do that, you all know that I start off with a little bit of life and business update. Today is going to be pretty quick because, as I mentioned in last episode, I am pre-recording some episodes because of some upcoming travel and just things that I'm doing, as far as I have a concert tonight, and I'm just pre-recording some stuff because I know that my time is going to be limited. So with that being said, I have Taylor Swift tomorrow. I'm so excited, but because Monday's a recording day, I will not be around on Monday because it's Memorial Day, and I will be coming back from Taylor Swift. So when this episode drops, it is Memorial Day, and I'll be coming back from New York City. So super excited for that. I saw Taylor Swift. I don't know if anyone is a Taylor Swift fan. I am among the generation where I grew up with Taylor Swift. So when she first came out, I was in 8th grade. So she started as an artist. I was 8th grade. That put me like, how old is that? 13. And I was a super fan then. Always really liked Taylor Swift. And then she became huge, if you will. Probably, just a year after that. But when she first came out, my friend and I, her name was Ashley. She was older than I was, and she had like a CD that came out. I don't know if it was prior to her actually getting big. I think it honestly might have been like the Tim McGraw single. And we listened to it, and I remember that at that point in time, she was not big. And then all of a sudden she blew up. And yeah, so I've grown up with Taylor Swift. I've always respected Taylor Swift as an artist. So I feel like there are two people in the world. You either don't like Taylor Swift or you absolutely love her, or like you're kind of neutral, I guess. There's 3 people, but I never understood the people that don't like her. Simply because if you understand anything about music and singing and playing guitar and the fact that she can span multiple different genres of music, it's incredible. And she writes all of her own songs. So up until her recent couple albums, she never even had collaborators, and they were all her own lyrics. So writing your own songs, which I don't know if a lot of people know that, but a lot of songs that are in country music especially are written by other people. So for instance, Cole Swindell used to write a lot of Luke Bryan songs, but then Cole Swindell would open up for Luke Bryan at concerts. So it's kind of like a mindfuck for me. But anyway, that's how you get paid as a songwriter. Obviously, it's how you make money. So Taylor Swift has always written her own songs, which is incredible to me. And to be able to go from country to, I think pop was next. No, it was more like country, then rock, then pop. And then go back to more like a Lana Del Rey moody feel. I mean, her music is wild to me just because she's spanned so many different genres and writing her own songs. She's very, very good at what she does. And that's one of the big reasons I respect her. I think it gets to me when people are like, I hate her because she sings about people she breaks up with. And I'm like, cool. Where do you get inspo from? You write email marketing newsletters because of things that happen in your life. So she's just doing it at a much larger scale. So I truly do feel like she is a fantastic artist. And if you can't respect her for the fact that she sings about her breakups, or she used to sing about her breakups, I would honestly just be like, well, you can at least say that she does know what she's doing when it comes to music. I will also say, and I've been toying with the idea of writing an email about this, and it might come out after my monthly recap, but she does a great job with branding and fan engagement. Her fans, like, I am not, people call them Swifties. Like, that is not me. I am not all up in her shit. Like, I don't know. People say that she does Easter eggs and like little hints and stuff. I'm not that person. I just enjoy her music. But she does such a good job with keeping her fans engaged because she involves them in everything. And I got to think more on how I want to talk about that, but the way that she entertains and the way that she shows up for her fans and also shows up in her life, it's awesome. Like, if you honestly take a step back and if you ever have looked into the things that she does inside her music videos, the things that she puts there, and if you ever read like, oh, blah, blah, blah has an Easter egg, if you read the things that she does purposefully to put little hints for her fans inside her music videos and inside her lyrics and at the concerts and all the things, you see that she develops this massive engagement, and her fans don't leave because they're like, you're involving us in everything and you want us to seek out all of these little hints that you have. It's a very, very, very cool way to do branding, and how she actually just sets up her whole brand to involve her fans. So it's always been very fascinating to me and how she does things, and I like her. I like her a lot. I like her music, but I also like how she shows up. So that's just what it is. If you don't like her, cool, ignore me, but whatever. I like Taylor Swift, so we're going there. I'm going there with a best friend tomorrow. So excited. And the only thing that's making me nervous is traveling in and out of New York City, but I digress. I'm just hoping it goes well. So I don't like cities, in case anyone doesn't know. I just don't like cities. They kind of freak me out. But we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We're 30 years old. We can probably figure it out, but just don't like it. Just don't like it. All right. So that's the big life update. Obviously, I can't record on Monday, so I'm recording today because guess what? I will be on the train. So my other big updates, and if you get my monthly newsletter, I will drop the link for my monthly newsletter inside the show notes if you're not on it, just because that usually I have all of my updates there for my business, as well as like anything that you may have missed on Instagram and all the things. So with my monthly newsletter, I am announcing, again, I mentioned it in the last episode, the SEO monthly retainer option. So if you are a brick and mortar, I am starting with just brick and mortar, not online businesses, in-person businesses only, SEO retainers. And those SEO retainers are going to be very specific deliverables each month. And I'm only opening up 2 slots. It'll either happen in August or September. I have not decided when, but there will be 2. Like, this is not a fake urgency thing. This is me saying there will be 2. So opening those up August, September. And I'm super pumped because a lot of the SEO retainers that I see are either BS, like they're telling you they're doing things and they're not, or people just they just don't understand what they're paying for, I guess. So for me, it's going to be very important that people totally understand what they're paying for. I probably will, while I have that wait list, so sign up for the wait list, there's going to be a link in the show notes, but that wait list will be notified after I notify my SEO school participants. So I will probably reach out to them first just to say like, hey, I'm running this thing. If you took SEO school and you don't want to do what you're learning yourself, like, I'm doing this. So we'll reach out to them, and then I'll reach out to my SEO interest list that is linked in the bio. So once again, brick and mortar in-person business. If you're interested in SEO work being done for you, then please sign up on that interest list. More info to come, but that is where we'll be. For my other offer that I had talked about a couple weeks ago on the podcast, and I also brought it up in my newsletter for May, I believe. Shantae, the Movement Maestro, we are working together on a group program, a coaching program I said group. It's not really group. We are still nailing down details. Let's put it that way. But we are doing a new coaching program for brick and mortar business owners who want to move things online or start an online audience. But what we're focusing on is the strategy, but also the implementation of everything. So it is essentially business strategy mixed with exactly how you're going to implement that stuff. So that interest list is also inside the bio. There's been a huge interest there. So we haven't decided how we're going to limit this and what that process is going to look like. But if you are interested, there likely will not be a public launch of any sort. So make sure you get on the wait list. It costs nothing to get on the wait list. You're not committed by getting on the wait list. It's literally just making sure you're in the loop as far as getting information. So our goal, like I mentioned before, is to get people ready to go, hopefully by the beginning of the year. So if all goes well, if people want to have a start date of the beginning of next year, or even sooner, depending on what that process looks like for you, our goal is to essentially give you all the things that you would need and bring you through from start to finish. And you won't be left without how to do our website copy, SEO things. Like all of the stuff is going to be covered because we really want to make sure that you get the entire package, because we see that gap existing right now where people have the coach, but they don't have the implementation, or they have the implementation, but they never got coaching on it. So we are blending those two things. So if you're interested, please make sure you get on the wait list. That is in the show notes. Highly, highly recommend that. So without further ado, I am going to, as always, bring on my friends from Jane app to talk about all the things Jane Payments, and then we're going to jump into the episode. Taking a minute to thank our sponsor. The sponsor for this episode is Jane app. You may be familiar with Jane. Of course, you're familiar with Jane because I talk about them all the time. They're an all-in-one practice management software, making it easy to book, chart, and bill all online. They also offer a fully integrated PCI-compliant payment solution called Jane Payments, which is designed to manage all of your payment needs. The team at Jane knows that they play an important role in protecting your data, and that's not just your client health records, but also credit card information. Jane Payments is PCI compliant, which helps your business keep your client billing information safe and secure. If you're curious to learn more about PCI compliance with Jane Payments or want to book a one-on-one demo with a member of their team, head to jane.app/payments. Again, that's jane.app/payments. You can also mention the show Up in My Business for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. You can also use the code LEX1MO, so LEX1MO, for your first month of Jane free. Okay, so let's talk email marketing for brick and mortar in-person businesses. Now, I also could just say healthcare related businesses because I am going to be focusing on people who are using like an EMR software. I do recognize there are online businesses that are healthcare practices. So this also applies to you, but the vast majority of healthcare folks that I work with are that in-person brick and mortar practice. So if you're an online business, a lot of this can apply to you, but what we're really going to dive into is like the link between email marketing and intake forms for your practice, etc. So potentially might be talking about this about online business at a future date. So you can listen around the edges, take away what fits for you or things that might work for you, and then go from there. So let's start off with what is email marketing. So at its like baseline simplest definition, email marketing is just a way to send out a mass email to people. So the difference between that and your Google email is that yes, you can send a Gmail from Google, like googlemail.google.com. You can send a mass email to people, but oftentimes if you're putting 300 people in there, 400 people in there, it's going to be flagged as spam. So it's a way, email marketing is a way, or software, email marketing software is a way to then send out emails without the risk of being tagged as spam. Now, email marketing can be a vast majority of things. We've all been bombarded with like the 50% off sale. Like I stay on Express, the clothing brand. I stay on their email list. I stay on the email list to get the deals, the discounts, whatever it may be. Email marketing can also look like James Clear's email, where you get a lot of tangible, tactical tips in an email. Email marketing can also just look like clinic updates, and maybe a new clinician has come in, or you're celebrating an anniversary, right? So email marketing can look a lot of different ways. And the thing that I really want to approach and make sure I say is that email marketing, like the marketing component, is kind of just a word that's used there. I would more or less just say like relational emailing. Because the thing is if we're thinking about a brick and mortar in-person business practice, you're not emailing people about discounts on things. Sure, you can run a sale. Like, I get it. You can run a sale on your packages or your sessions, or buy one session, get one free. Sure. But your whole email marketing practice, or your business practice and your email marketing, will not be based around the fact that you have clothing for sale or that you're having a discount on something. You will be sending out clinic promotions as far as, hey, we have open enrollment coming up, make sure you save some money. But you'll also be sending out, we have an event coming up. We're going to be at this massage therapy practice next week. Come see us. We're going to be at this business networking event. Come hang out. We have an event coming up at our clinic. We are closed. We are open. There are so many things that you can put in email marketing that have nothing to do with the fact that, like, we're having a sale on our t-shirts. So it's more or less relational emailing, and it's a way to get into someone's email inbox and give them information that they otherwise may not get. So that's the biggest thing here is email marketing. While you can be on Instagram, you can have a website, email marketing does give you that direct connection to your patients, clients, etc. And you are going straight to their inbox. So you're not fighting an algorithm. You're not trying to get, the post to be seen. You're not posting things in multiple locations and hoping that someone comes across it, because when people are on your email list, they are getting that email. So you know that it's arriving to them, and it's a higher chance of things getting seen, of course. So email marketing is very important. And I think people don't necessarily put a lot of weight on it for brick and mortar businesses. And I just want to tell you that you should be. Like, it's a great way to communicate with your people. So we're going to dive into software first. So software for email marketing, the only email marketing provider I recommend is ConvertKit. I know a lot of people have Jane, and I don't know if PT Everywhere also links with MailChimp, but MailChimp does not have the capabilities that it needs to have in order to make other things work. And the email marketing stuff in general, a lot of people start to use it. It's way too much, too overwhelming, and they end up switching to ConvertKit anyway. So for what it's worth, ConvertKit is my email marketing software of choice, and I highly recommend it. And I think at this point, I don't work with people who are not on ConvertKit. And I mean, I have however many clients, and there's not anyone who has said like, I wish I didn't switch or whatever. It's always like, I am so glad that I switched to ConvertKit because it has made everything else easier. So ConvertKit is definitely what I recommend for email marketing software. So if you don't have a server yet, you can do that. If you're somewhere else like Aweber or ActiveCampaign or MailerLite, you can switch, and they make it very easy to switch because they all want you to pay them. So ConvertKit, once again, $29 a month, I believe, and you can switch easily if you don't have it already. And the thing is I think that you have probably heard me say this, because if you listen to my podcast or you're on my Instagram, you know that I am a sucker for integrations. Like, you need to automatically integrate into the things that I'm already using. So my website, ConvertKit, Kajabi, all those things talk to each other, and they're all friends. And you don't need an external software. For someone who has experimented with this, it's something like Zapier. You don't need an external software to link them together. And for me, that is so important. So that's why I love ConvertKit. We're going to talk about the automation and being linked shortly, as far as like email marketing and EMRs. But regardless, that's what I use for software. Now, an important thing that you need to understand is email marketing rules, right? So the rules of email marketing, we'll keep it super, super easy here. In order to drop into someone's inbox, you have to have their permission. So email marketing, and that's why we have to check the box that says I allow for email marketing, or I allow for you to email me, because you have to give and get permission in order to add someone to your mailing list. So we are going to talk about how to do that as far as in your in-person businesses and different ways that you can do that. But that is a just general rule. You have to get permission. Now, I'm also going to talk about things that people do and they don't get permission. And I'm just going to mention it and say the risks that people take. And we'll talk about that later on in the episode. But for what it's just at a blanket statement is you have to get permission in order to drop into someone's inbox, which makes sense, right? And I'm sure most of us don't care. We know how to unsubscribe. We know how to scroll to the bottom, click unsubscribe, call it a day. So if someone ended up putting us on their email list, then we know how to get off. And I don't think anyone would ever be like, oh my God, you're my physical therapy practice and I'm on your email list. This is the worst. They want to be on your list because they're already supporting you in that way. But just with a blanket statement, always approach the situation of you need to get permission before you get them on your email list. So you might be wondering, how do you get permission, right? So if you have to get permission, what does that look like and how do you do it? So email marketing platforms have their own inherent permission, and then also you can get permission within your intake forms on whatever EMR booking software that you are using. And I'll kind of dive into that separately as far as how that works. So collection, let's talk about EMRs in general. So most intake forms, I know Jane automatically has it. If you go into settings and then language and then search for marketing, just do Command F if you're on a Mac or Control F if you're on a Windows, and you search for marketing, you will see that there's language in your intake form for joining the mailing list. I recently did an Instagram post the other day about how you can change this language to not say I agree to receive marketing and promotions via email, because that's the built-in one from Jane. What I've seen a lot of people do and what I've done in the past is just saying we give you important clinic updates via email and will oftentimes send you any sort of clinic closings through email. By checking this box, you agree to receive these emails or something like that. That was probably not the best worded thing, and it was not very great. I'm not a talker when I write. I have to actually write. So anyway, you get what you get. So you can customize that part of the intake form so that way it's not saying marketing, right? Because people kind of just there's a negative connotation there. So just take out that word, make it sound more personalized rather than just being I'm going to add you to my email list and bombard you with emails every single day, because we all know what that feels like. So I would say customizing that. So that is within your intake forms within Jane app, PT Everywhere. If you use Acuity Scheduling, they all have an option for that within your intake form. I'm not positive if PT Everywhere has one built in or you can just add it into your intake form, but Jane is already built in. It's in the consent section, I believe, at the end of your intake form. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, it's there. So that's one way of collecting, right? So we've got our EMR software. If we have something like ConvertKit and we host a workshop, we can also collect emails that way. So someone signs up for the workshop, first name, email. It's a free workshop or a paid workshop because ConvertKit also has products. You can collect emails that way. If you have discovery calls hosted outside of your EMR, I know some folks will have a discovery call on Calendly, you can also connect that with something like ConvertKit. So that way when they sign up for their call, their email is collected and put into your email marketing software. You can add an embed form on your website. So from ConvertKit, you can take a form and embed it onto your website and collect emails that way. You can send out a freebie to, other gyms or other places that you want to connect with and get an email that way, or create a freebie and then create a QR code, have them scan the QR code to get the freebie. But in order to get the freebie, they have to opt into your email marketing newsletter. That's all through ConvertKit too, by the way. And then you can also have it inside of a welcome packet for your clinic. So if you feel like people are not saying yes on the intake form, but they might say yes after they meet you in person and after they have their evaluation, you can also have a welcome to the clinic welcome packet and give them that file if you will, or that booklet, and have a QR code in there to then scan and join the email list or something like that. So there are many different ways to collect emails, but what you need to understand is that you have to collect them in some way, shape, or form. And getting permission is obviously super important and legal. So those are the ways that you can collect them for the different routes of things. Now, here's the thing. I recognize that I have to talk about the quote unquote automatic integration that different softwares have with email marketing platforms. So I oftentimes get the concern from people, well, Jane is automatically connected to MailChimp. Look, I am Jane's biggest fan. I am a Jane app fan through and through, but I don't like MailChimp. I have seen MailChimp do awful things. It sent out emails when it's not supposed to send out emails. Now, have things changed? Maybe. I don't know. Like MailChimp could have changed, but I do know that as of late, I still have a lot of folks who are like, this platform is not good for me. This platform is not working for me. So they need something different. And ConvertKit has always been the solid, amazing answer for people. Like I know that it works and I know that people love it. So that's why I continue recommending it, right? So I'm not recommending something that people like I just think works. It's something that is through and through working. So when I say that there's an automatic integration to other software, you also have to keep in mind that the only people that are going to get shuffled to that software are the people that are checking that box. So if you ever have to email your clinic, your whole clinic, because the clinic's closed, if they never check the box, they're not in your software. I also feel like it's really important to understand that in the end or at the end of the day, everybody wants to save time. So every single person wants to save time. They want to conserve their energy. They want to do more things that they like to do. The thing that I've seen across the board is that if someone uses the automatic integrations with the MailChimp software, they end up, quote unquote, saving time because the emails are automatically inserted, but then wasting a ton of time on the back end because they have no fucking clue how to use MailChimp or the software is not working for them. So they end up wasting a ton of time on that end. So for me, I'm like, you know what? I will take the non-automatic integration, which I'll go through how to make that super easy, but I'll take the non-automatic integration with, or non-integration, no integration at all, with an EMR and an email marketing platform, than having to waste a ton of time because it's quote unquote automatically integrated, but then the platform sucks. So that's just what it is for me. I have accepted that we also need to understand that it's not always the easiest route to use the best software. So at least as far as integrations go, like automatically being integrated. And all I'm saying that with is EMRs. Everything else I use, automatic integration. But EMRs, for whatever reason, I don't know what license MailChimp has, but they have that license. So whatever. Anyway, so that's the thing. That's like the caveat to being automatically integrated with other software. So with that being said, you might want to say to me like, well, Lex, if it's not automatically integrated, what the heck do I do? You do exports, or you add them into your email marketing as they come in for their evaluation. So this is the thing that I'm going to tell people. I'm going to tell you that people I know take risks. So the risk that people take is they export their patient list. So every single month, I have someone who does it every Friday. They will export their patient list from Jane or PT Everywhere, whatever it may be, of their new patients from that week or that month. Then they will upload all of those patients into their email marketing platform. They do not separate by people who check the box and people who don't check the box. I'm not here to record on a podcast whether or not I support or do not support that action. I am just telling you that people take that risk. So that's a risk people take because, quote unquote, it's not legal because they're not asking for permission or they're not paying attention to whether or not people are saying that they have their permission. But they export people weekly or monthly. So I also have people who, when they book an eval, they will put them directly into the email marketing software because then they get shuffled into like a welcome sequence of like, hey, you booked an eval. Here's what to do next. Like, I know that this stuff happens because it makes sense. So there's a risk that a lot of people are willing to take with this simply to improve the patient experience. If a patient is getting an email about their welcome to the practice and like how they're going to fill out their paperwork and where the directions are and like how to get there and how to get inside and where do they wait, people are not going to be mad at you. If you put them on your mailing list and then you start emailing them information about creatine, like obviously they're going to be annoyed. Like, okay, cool, I don't want to be on your list. Like, I don't want to buy your creatine, right? So it just depends on how people really, obviously, how what you send out and what that makes them feel like. So I'm telling you that people take the risk and they just upload their new patients. They upload their new patients from that week, that month, whatever it may be, and they call it a day. I also know people who do not do that. They only upload their email subscribing list, which you can easily shuffle out in Jane. I don't know about PT Everywhere. No idea. Used it, but never used it in that capacity. So you can definitely do it with Jane. So that is essentially how you would get them out of the software, right? So you file save as and you get a CSV file is what it's called. And it's just a file that has names and email addresses. And then with ConvertKit, you just drop it in, you upload them, you tag them as patients or tag them as like May patients, May 2023 patients or whatever it may be. And then you upload them into ConvertKit with first name and email. You don't need all the other data. You don't need any other data, just first name and email. All good. So yes, I want to say, like, does the automatic nature sound really sexy? Like I book a patient and they say yes on their intake form and then they're in my email marketing software. Sure, like that sounds really sexy. But I will also say that if you're a person who wants to send an email sequence, that's not going to work for you. Like a welcome email. That's not going to work for you. And if you're a person who wants to essentially get people on your list and not wait for them to check that box, it won't work for you. And also, if you do, regardless of the method of you're going to say yes or no when it comes to having them be on the yes, I subscribe to your email marketing list or, I don't. If you're not going to pay attention to that, regardless of that, this download and upload, like download from your EMR and upload into email marketing, it takes less than 3 minutes, literally 3 minutes. So it's not like it's this long drawn out process where you have to type in every single name and type in every email. That's just not what it is. So it's fast regardless, right? So we don't always have to look for that automatic integration, and it's not necessarily always the best to use the automatic integration if it's going to cause you problems on the back end. So yes. So we talked about the risks that people will take, and I want to just say that those are risks that people take. If you choose to take them, that's not my problem. I'm just telling you what people take, what people do, not saying yes or no to these things. And the last thing that I want to talk about is what to email your people about. Because I keep saying, I've kind of mentioned it throughout the episode, but I feel like people are really going to want to know, like, what am I using email marketing for and what am I using Gmail for, right? That's my regular Gmail address. So when you're in Gmail, you're emailing specific things to people. Like if you had to talk to Sarah about her upcoming appointment, you're probably going to email Sarah directly to talk about her upcoming appointment. You're not going to go through email marketing for that, right? So think about email marketing as more as mass emails, things that apply to more than one person, your clinic, or a group of patients that you have, whether it's like all of your shoulder pain patients. Like I know we don't refer to patients like that. I'm not like patient first language. I got it. But I'm just saying if you have a shoulder patient tag or shoulder pain tag, you might want to email just the people with shoulder pain. There we go, patient first. But the thing is that's the beauty of email marketing, right? So you can really shuffle out like, hey, we want to email just these people, or we want to email our whole entire clinic. So what to email about? You might email about closures. Hey, we have a snow day. Our clinic is closed. If you need to reach us, we're available by phone and text, email, right? So you can talk about clinic closures. You can talk about updates. So just updates with your business. Are you moving? Do you have a new clinician coming on? Do you support a local business that you want people to check out, that you might do an event there later on this month or something like that? Updates, clinic updates, pricing updates, right? So pricing changes. If you ever have to change your prices, can you imagine not being able to email every single person on your patient list? Like that's one thing in my brain. I'm like, this alone tells me that the people who upload their whole patient list, like okay, Cool. I love that, because how else are you going to tell everyone? You can put a sign on the door, but we all know that people don't read anything. So pricing changes. How are you going to tell people, right? How will you tell people that the prices are changing? And that's a big thing to email. A lot of my clients use email marketing to talk about pricing changes. When it comes to clinic celebrations, like, are you celebrating a second anniversary? Does your clinic have a clinician with a birthday, right? So you can email about clinic celebrations. You can email about events. I think a lot of people stick to events, meaning events that you're a part of. You can also email about other local events. Like if you know your business owner friend is having an event, put them in your email list, right? If you're hosting an event or you're going to an event, you're supporting an event, put that event in your email or in your email marketing campaign. Like send that out to people. People want to know when you're doing things like that, and they love to support you. So all of those events that you're a part of, and anything else that you feel like would pertain to people, with people who just want to hear from you, right? So you can, I said in the beginning that we think about email marketing, right? Instead, let's think about it as relational emailing. So we're just building a stronger relationship with the people that are already a part of our ecosystem. And I think people feel some type of way about sending an email to people, but some of the best engagement that we ever got with our email marketing list was just sending out updates of Moose when she was a puppy. So it's really important to just understand that even though things are just, I don't want to say that it's not business related. I don't want you to feel like you can't drop into your patients' inboxes with personal stuff too. People love that, and they love the little updates. They love hearing things. They love getting in. Patients also leave, meaning they get better and they don't see you again. And we all know that physical therapy, especially, I can't speak to every single profession and every single profession listening here, but a lot of us care about our people. And well, I hope all of us care about our people, but especially if you're in this ecosystem, I really hope you care about your people. But we care about our people, and we care about what happens to them when they leave us and when they're not necessarily getting treated by us every single day. And they feel the same about us. Like they do care and they want to hear updates from you. So if someone, graduated, quote unquote, from getting treatment, they love getting those updates, the clinic updates, the updates about your family, whatever it may be. So making that email marketing personal and not just making it super sterile and businessy. And you know what that feels like. There are people that you probably receive emails from and you're like, I love receiving emails from this person because they put such personal stuff in here, or they put something that doesn't have to do with their business in here. And it's always a feel good thing, right? So you might buy a plant and put that plant in your email marketing list, and that's okay too. It doesn't always have to be business, is what I'm saying. And people love that part. I love that when I get emails like that. So it's great when you get responses, and it feels really good to be able to relate to your people in that way. So I would love if you already are not yet emailing your people, email your people. And if you are emailing your people, just, I guess, think about how are you getting those emails? What are you doing once you have them? And what do those newsletters feel like to you? Do you need to add something different? Do you want to talk more about personal stuff or business stuff? Or do you feel like everything is feeling good? Or if you are literally starting from scratch, I hope you take this and say, awesome, I'm going to get ConvertKit. I'm going to follow the process to have an email marketing list. I'm going to make sure that when I host a workshop, I have a sign up form on ConvertKit. Like there's so many things that we can make happen in order to collect these email addresses. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know if you have any questions. As always, I am so thankful that you tune in. If you're new here, this podcast releases once a week, every Monday. And I always start off with that personal business update and then go into some tactical stuff and focus on one topic typically. And I'm always up for suggestions. So if you have things that you want me to talk about, please just let me know and I will try my best to get those topics on the podcast. Most times I will record an episode, within the next week or so if someone gives me a topic, just because it'll come before the topics that I have, unless I already have it on my list. So if you have been listening since the beginning, then you know that all of the links that I mentioned are in the show notes, the sign up for Brick-and-Mortar business SEO retainers, as well as the joint coaching program that Shantae, the Movement Maestro, and I will be launching soon. So make sure you check those out. 2 different landing pages, and you can join the waitlist. Costs you nothing to join the waitlist, and there is no commitment associated with it. So check those out. Let me know if you have any questions. And I'm just trying to figure out if I said everything I want to say. As always, I am super appreciative that you are here listening, and I think I got it. I think we've got everything covered for this week. So I will catch you next time, and thank you so much for being here.